Is it spooky time already?
Hold on, I'm not supposed to be here!
Let's suit up.
Oh!
Oh, shoot. Not again.
We're gonna go. No! No!
Yeah. Keep your mummy wrap on. I'm coming. Is there a ghost splooge in this place? I'm surrounded by perverts.
At this time, I need you to kindly fuck off.
Don't worry. All my buddies are just a little bit naughty. There's someone in the wall.
No! Leave me alone!
Well, that's my cue. I wonder what cheesy, schlock-filled horror game we've got to subject ourselves to today. Now, where's my eyeliner?
How's it going? Let's get this party started with a little bit of the midnight. Let's go. All right, now we're talking.
There's only two ways to make it in this town. One is to be brilliant, the other is to drown. Don't take both drugs all in one go.
You can't reach the heavens passed out on the floor. That's right, we're back, baby. Music and everything. We've got it. We know what we're doing.
It's a highway to the door.
Are you ready to join me on the highway? I got it right here, baby.
Sweet canyon lullaby. Don't look straight into its eyes. It's a highway to the dark.
That's right. We are here for a Tuesday stream, and you know what that means. It's going to be a whole lot of cheesy, schlocky, good fun. So if you're ready for it, and I know I'm ready for it, then let's get wild. Let's get crazy. Let's have a good time.
If your mama could see you now, if your mama could see you now, topless and upside down, spinning around. If your mama could see you now, with the party lines coming out, are you lost or are you found? Are there too many mirrors in this heart?
That's right. We are just getting started. This is the hype. This is the time. Now show me. Show me you're ready. Show me you want to have fun tonight. Show me you want to get just a little wild. And we are going to have the best night the best stream of 2025. And every stream after this is only gonna get better, baby. So let's go, let's do this.
In this maze, but I could love you forever if you'd meet my gaze.
It's time. That's right. We made it. Tuesday, baby. We made it. You're here. You survived. Well, for now. And now it's time for me to ask you the question that's been on my mind for quite some time. Are you ready? Are you ready for the question? It's coming for you. You, right there. Yes, you. Don't look behind you. Nothing's there yet. Here we go. How's it going, buddies? Today we have a jam-packed stream, so let's dive in and have some fun, shall we? My name is AllyReggie, and I'm your late-night horror game hostess with the mostest, and I like to get just a little too wild and talk a little too much about anything and everything. You want to play games and wax poetic? You want to complete challenges and critique discourse? Do you want to know about the economics of farming sims? Well, then you, my new buddy, are in the right place. So make sure you have your snacks, your water, and a cozy, comfy place to kick back and watch the madness unfold. If you haven't done so already, please feel free to hit the follow button. It really helps me out, and make sure you never miss a stream. Right now, we stream on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays with plans for special events and all kinds of fun on the horizon. So, here's what we've got going on today, everyone. Welcome back. If you weren't here for our Sunday, what was it, the 12th? Sunday the 12th stream, then you may be surprised to see me streaming. You may be saying, she's back. She's back. I've been back, baby. Don't call it a comeback. I was here the whole time. No, but I was gone for 2 months. So, today, as the stream title implies, we will be talking about Home Safety Hotline because we have to finish our seasonal worker stint over at the Home Safety Hotline. And we'll kick things off tonight by talking about TikTok. So, have you guys been following this TikTok thing? It's okay if you haven't. It is okay if it is not your jam. But for those not in the know, TikTok is going away. Allegedly, probably, most likely, definitely. And the reason why it's going away is very complicated and convoluted. Certain people say, oh, it's a security issue. There's danger if somebody somewhere in the Chinese government were to take control and take your data. They could know things about you. And that might be true. It is also true that every other organization, and I mean that broadly, organization, nearly anyone who gathers marketing data on you sells it. That is your value as a human right now is largely on your purchasing power data. TikTok has to be sold to a US company or die. Yeah, well, I mean, it won't die. There are tons of other countries that still use it and could still use it, but like the cool kids will be gone. So yeah, it'll probably die. Douyin will still be there. It's very popular in China, and Douyin does very well in China, so I don't know. I don't know how this will affect ByteDance's finances. I personally think ByteDance will probably be fine. I think they'll probably have a lot less money, and the creator fund will probably go away. But I don't see them losing out. The U.S. intelligence agencies don't want foreign countries to have the same access, which would make sense if Meta wasn't selling our data too. It would make sense if Shein wasn't selling our data too. It would make sense if Instagram didn't sell your data, if Temu didn't sell your data, if you didn't sell your data from Target. Like, there's like like Temu, for example, is a really great. Apple discovered TikTok was reading clipboard data on their devices. Man, Apple needs to sit down, because Apple be doing, Applebee's. When you're here, your family? No, that's not right. Applebee. That could be passwords. I mean, you give your password to Shein and Temu, and you give your credit card number, and you give your address. Now, that's my point. It's only okay to them if it's U.S. controlled. True. It's only okay to sell our data when the U.S. companies benefit. I'm okay with all social media burning. Squishy. I feel that. I feel that in my soul. If I didn't have a job that kind of surrounded social media in publicity and public relations, I'd probably agree with you. Plus one social networks can die. Yeah. Honestly, we don't need social media. I say we go back to forums. I'm hearing Elon is gonna buy it. I thought Mr. Wonderful was gonna buy it. So, we've been hearing all these terrible things. TikTok's going away, and the government has not changed their tune. That their concern is security. That they're worried that this one app right here, this guy right over here, this one, the one called Tic-Tacky, Tic-Tac-Toe Wiener Chicken Dinner, is going to be the one. That's the one that's the danger. And I love the pettiness, and I love the psychology of American citizens, especially Gen Z, especially like Gen X. Millennials will just do whatever. So I as a millennial, I feel comfortable saying we're just along for the ride. Like we've never had a good opinion on anything anyway. So we're just here. Mid B said he wanted to buy it also. Of course he did. He's lost so much. Why is my hair being funky back here? There's like huge poof. Okay, my hair has been wild today. We'll get to my hair. We will get to my hair. The government is all about control. It's all about the money. It's not about your information. It's about who benefits from your information. That's what it's about. That's exactly right. And so the pettiness of U.S. consumers, typically, I'm guessing 20-somethings, but like probably everybody, said, oh, you're worried about China having my information? You're worried about China accessing the data on my phone? My Huawei phone with its, Apple products made in China? You're worried about my data going to China? Bad. I will download a entirely Chinese company owned app that is specifically for mainland Chinese people to use to communicate through social media called Xiaohongshu. Man, I tried so hard to be prepped to say that and I failed. Because I want to start pronouncing things in Japanese, and it's very silly. Xiaohongshu. And what we do there is we just give them our data, and it's fine. And they have it. Oh, most Americans will get automated very quickly. There have already been quite a few. One of the fun things, we'll get to this, but one of the fun things is cosplays. But yes, the app is very heavily monitored and moderated. But a lot of Americans were just like, let me just let you know how much I do not give a crud about your fake reasoning, your fake logic, US government. So that is only partially true, that there are no freedoms of speech in China. That's not how it is in practice, and that's not how it is in execution. It's heavily moderated free speech, but free speech almost it is almost as good as Japanese free speech. So, on balance, our definition of free speech here in the United States is very different than any Asian country, and it's complicated to be like, they don't have free speech. Those citizens are super restricted, super impoverished. Like Canada has pretty restrictive free speech in a lot of places. So Squishy, I don't want to derail us too much, but a lot of what you're saying is there is nuance to this. There is deep nuance, and the exceptionalism of, well, if you say something bad about their dictator, or you say he looks like Winnie the Pooh, you don't know about Japan having or you believe Japan has a relatively free press. Interesting. I find this may have to be a discussion for an actual stream. Like, we may have to go into this for an actual stream. But the reality is, the larger amount of people who live in China have always lived under these rules and know how to circumvent them properly, just like Americans know how to circumvent. Yes, I'm a poli-sci major. What do you, or well, it's a double major because I'm a marketing major. Poli-sci was the double. It's you don't have to do as much when your second major is poli-sci. But there's so much nuance there that our propaganda machines here in the United States tilt our view of what happens and sensationalize things. Just like if you ever hear somebody complain, man, the news is always such a bummer. We're always hearing about guns, and we're always hearing about school shootings, and we're always hearing about people losing their kids or people being homeless. It's such a bummer. The reason for that is propaganda. And whether or not it's propaganda that the state puts on, propaganda that the media puts on, propaganda that large corporations put on, there are many different forms of propaganda that communicate things to you that you live with, that you live inside. So the only thing we as Americans have ever known about that propaganda machine from day one is what we know. We have not lived in a situation where we can be outside of that propaganda machine, and that propaganda machine has been largely the same since we were born, since like the 60s. So I've never known a different propaganda machine than the one we currently have, than the capitalist propaganda machine that we have. I like some things China does, like murdering greedy CEOs. Wish America would do that. Back at Japan, seeing Japan's museum recount history versus the rest of the region is wild. There are some very interesting things that Japan has some hot takes on. That all said, what you're describing is a very interesting thing that I'm really interested to see how it plays out on Xiaohongshu. I really would love to see how the propaganda machine of China and the propaganda machine of the United States, when two white-collar or blue-collar people meet on an app, how that is dissolved. Because both machines have some semblance of truth in them in order to make them plausible. How does that then, more like not takes, how does that dissolve? How do they cancel each other out? How do you find the truth amongst the propaganda machine? And when do you find society? We just forget. Those years didn't exist. Those days didn't exist. What's a Korea? I don't know. I've never heard of it. I don't even know. I don't even know. But speaking of Japan, speaking of China, an example of some of the things that are moderated out and potentially, right, for a good reason is My Hero Academia. You cannot, My Hero Academia is banned in China. 100% banned. Anything that is related to My Hero Academia is taken down immediately if they catch you. So there were a couple people who were like, hey, this is my new social media app. I'm a cosplayer. Let me show you some cool edits of my cosplays. And like they were in their Dobby cosplay being like, hey, rawr, like being Dobby. I'm so good at being Dobby. So, you know, don't worry about it. I know. I have great chemistry with the character Dobby. Immediately, a bunch of Chinese people were like, take it down, delete it, you need to get rid of this. This is not good. Stop it. You're going to get in trouble. Because in China, anything related to My Hero Academia is banned. And the reason why it's banned is very interesting, is very what we're talking about. In Japan, I don't want to go too deep into this. If you know, you know. And if you don't know, you'll be able to look this up by just like searching controversy of My Hero Academia. But there was a doctor who did experiments on people. Really fucking dark experiments. And there's a character in My Hero Academia who's meant to be a villain. But they literally use the name of that very bad doctor in the show. And when confronted on the issue, the manga, and in the manga, the mangaka was kind of like, what are you going to do? It's a thing, right? I don't know. It just seemed like a fun time. Not a good response to the lots and lots of people who have family members who, in like memory of history, dealt with the fallout of those experiments. And then you have the US on the other side who was like, gimme. If you gimme your data, I will keep you safe, Mr. Doctor's people. I will keep you safe. And just gimme your data. So, like I said, yep. Nuance to everything. And I am too much of a mindset that the world is about to explode anyway to worry or care. But I'm here for the ride. I'm here to have fun. Speaking of having fun, we need to finish Home Safety Hotline. That's our next step in the evening. We are a seasonal worker. I don't know if you guys know this, but I did, because of the holidays, I had to take on a second job. So I became, I actually do this pretty much every year. Once a year, I go to Home Safety Hotline and I spend about a week there, make a little extra dough to pay off all the debts from the holidays. Works out pretty well for me. And I'm pretty great. I don't want to toot my own horn. Oh, the history of medicine is dark. If you ever want to be the most horrified you will ever be, and I highly recommend, well, your significant other probably knows this, but if you ever want to learn about the first cesarean section and what instrument it was performed with, experimentation has to happen to progress in science. We are now, this is okay. We're really going off the deep end here. But let's stick to this train. It's a crazy train. Let's stick to it. While I'm queuing up the game and I'm eating a snack. We got 27 minutes. We got time to kill. We are now at a stage, the late stage of capitalism, where we can do experimentation. We have all the data of history. We can do it virtually. We can do it without, largely, there is a point at which we then have to start putting people in experiments, but we can largely do the majority of experimentation digitally, virtually, with statistics, with probability in computers. The only reason why we're at that point is because we have enough data of really horrid atrocities committed against people against their will, with no recognition. And so we can use all of that very painful data and then start the process of predictions, and then have a much safer, much more efficient optional variables that we can then put volunteers through. And so we can do things like evidence-based research and ask for volunteers. And because the risk mitigation has been done in the back end, we can do science that is much less risk mitigated. We don't have as many variables. It's why we don't have working male birth control, because our standards now are much higher than they were in the past. Female birth control has tons of risk factors and comorbidities and side effects and lifelong dangers. But all the research and everything was done in the past, and the proof is in the pudding, and we can risk mitigate, and we can let people know, hey, here's the risks. But this is what we have. To do any of the research and to move forward in producing like male birth control is difficult, because at a certain point you can't get past some of the very mild, frequent side effects of birth control. And now we have standards that none of those birth controls will ever adhere to. Things like itchiness in a certain percentage of people, things like nausea, things like the increased risk of migraines. These are all common in most female birth controls, but because they're also present in proposed male birth controls, they have to go back to the drawing board and find other options. It's senseless to ignore the research that has already been done, but yeah, modern research with an IRB is a much better way to go. I agree. It's just remembering that, like, what is the line? Don't you know the world is built with blood and genocide and exploitation? And you can't, this is one of the reasons why you can't boo-hoo and shame another country that has not been given access to the research, been given access to the funding, been given access to the width and breadth of knowledge that other countries have, for doing things like burning excessive amounts of coal or having exploitation of their workforce. You can say that's not good. You can advocate for better. But unless we put our money where our mouths are and afford other countries the benefits that we have built over, generations of blood and exploitation, we don't really get to say, like, ooh, isn't it so bad that they exploit their workers? Isn't it so bad that they are still burning so much fossil fuels? How dare they in 2025? Like, tell me where the money comes from, Janet. Tell me where the money comes from. Are you writing the check to help them build a hydro structure like we did? No? Oh, you don't want to help build dams in India? Really? Surprising. Total shocker, Janet. And then it starts to become more obvious to people. So I know this is super spooky talk. We are really scaring everybody here with our political science degree. Don't worry. I know it's frightening.